Welcome to the Madrona Group's 15-minute forms, where we choose a form to talk about to get a better understanding. Today, we're going to talk about Form 22VV and the notice for that form, 90VV. So when would we use a 22VV and what is it? The 22VV is the homeowner's insurance contingency. It's a contingency that we can put in the contracts so the buyer has the option of applying for homeowner's insurance at a specific rate and a specific premium. Looking at the 22VV, it gives the buyer a contingency. This is when the buyer is relying on getting homeowner's insurance in order to purchase the property. When you have this contingency in place, the buyer's financial records are looked at, the construction type of the home, and as well as the property. When an insurance is applied for, previous claims on the property are noted. So if you have a buyer who's looking in an area where insurance claims have been made in the past, this form may apply to you. This form is a contingency, so it does create an action the buyer has to take in order to retain the protection of that contingency. Now, by default, the premium is not going to exceed 0.5% of the purchase price. That amount can be changed in this contingency. And the deductible is not to exceed a default number of $2,000 unless another amount is put in. This is for obtaining a standard homeowner's insurance policy and nothing additional. If additional coverage is needed, extra boxes have to be selected, and those insurance premiums and deductibles would have to be noted unless the default is used. This is a form that would be used in the event that you have a property in an area such as a floodplain or fire zone, or landslide area, earthquakes, homes along the bluff, waterfront, or even older manufactured homes. Anything that's surrounded by possible trees, or if the buyer is worried that something in the surrounding areas would create an issue in obtaining homeowners insurance through a regular policy. Typically, this form is used when a financing addendum is not included in the offer, or when the buyer wants to specifically condition this purchase on the ability to obtain this insurance. The buyer is required to make insurance application within the first 5 days by default. When the buyer makes application for this, they're going to get a binder, and you as the listing agent will have the option to make sure that this was actually applied for in a timely fashion. Like any other contingency, the buyer has to create this action in order to keep the protection of this contingency. By default, the expiration of this contingency is 15 days. If the buyer does not give notice within that time, this contingency is deemed waived. So what happens if the buyer does need to give notice that homeowner's insurance is unavailable? Like most of the contingencies in our contract, we do have a form for the response for this. The form to respond for the inability to get homeowner's insurance is Form 90VV. This is a notice that the buyer signs and sends over to the seller. Now, buyers, once you have the news that you don't have the ability to get insurance, make sure you're retaining a copy of the application being made timely and the proof that insurance was not available. Homeowners insurance can only be purchased on residential property. So if you have a transaction with vacant land, it would not apply to use this form because homeowners insurance is not possible when you're purchasing vacant land. If you have a question about this form, its use, or how to make sure your buyer is retaining their contingency in it, please reach out. Otherwise, have an amazing day.